Hey everybody, happy Friday, and welcome to our weekly Web Presence Weekly Webcast. Every week we do this once a week.
Nice.
We made it through another week. It's Friday morning. I hope everyone had a fantastic week and got as much done as they possibly could. I know it gets harder and harder. And as we're sort of careening toward summertime, it's getting hotter and hotter in Las Vegas here.
It is getting gorgeous out there.
I'm excited. I'm excited to get in the pool. I'm excited to get in the lake. I'm excited for everything I can do to not be indoors all the time.
Yeah. Perfect time of the year to go hiking.
I know, right? I actually went hiking the other day with my daughter. One of her friends had his 7th birthday party up at Red Rock Canyon. So
Nice.
a bunch of 6 and 7-year-olds hiking through the canyon. Bunch of moms being like, watch out, you're going to fall, take it easy, watch out, stop climbing on that. And then me as the dad being like, maybe they'll fall.
Right.
We all fell down. Hope everyone is doing good. Hope everybody has awesome plans this weekend. Michael, you got anything cool planned on your weekends? What do you like to do on the weekends?
Well, like I said, I like to go hiking.
Okay.
I'm actually helping out at the Derek Jeter Invitational this week.
Nice.
So that was exciting.
That's cool.
To be part of that.
That's
and,
cool.
And help out with the celebs out there. So that's really cool.
That's awesome. And you're a busy, busy guy. On the show with me this week is my friend Michael Farnham. This is his lovely LinkedIn profile. We let him dress down for the show today because he's like, should I wear a tie? I said, I'm not wearing a tie. I'm wearing a red V-neck t-shirt. Michael is a merchant service advisor with Nationwide Payments. Michael knows his shit when it comes to credit card processing, payment processing, online, offline, mobile, all sorts of things. I am blown away by this guy's wealth of knowledge. We've known each other, almost a year now?
Yeah, just about a year.
And every single time we get the opportunity to interact, I'm really pretty impressed with the stuff that you've got going on. So tell the world, tell a little bit about what you've got, what you're doing with Nationwide, some of the things that you've got going on, and how they can get a hold of you.
Well, I'm excited to be part of Nationwide. We actually have been around since 2002, so we're not a new company in the business. So we've been around for quite some time, handle things across the nation, and we look to just help as many businesses as possible grow their ROI and reduce their rates and keep them on track. So
that's perfect.
Pretty excited about that.
And so you worked for a while on the East Coast.
I did.
And you've lived in Las Vegas now for a while. What do you like best?
Well, I love the mountains. For myself, I mean, I've always wanted to be in an area of mountains. I come actually from Connecticut.
Nice.
Some people might know Mystic, Connecticut from Mystic Pizza. That was actually the area that I came from.
That's
so
great.
That was pretty exciting.
Great.
Lived there the majority of my life, and then after the cold weather, there a couple of years ago, I was just like, I'm done. Let me move to the West Coast, and here I am, and very excited about it.
I know how you feel. I moved here from Idaho as well about 20 years ago, and whenever I go back, I'm freezing. Doesn't matter the time of year.
Right.
It's super, super cold.
Yeah.
Were you a skier growing up?
I was,
Nice.
Love it.
You still do it?
I don't do it as frequently.
Okay.
I'd love to, but we got a chance to come when we came over here. We stopped at Vail.
Cool.
So that was beautiful, and
very cool.
Love Lake Tahoe. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
Good
awesome.
stuff.
That's awesome. Nationwide Payments. How's a good way where someone can get in touch with you? We're going to jump into a little bit more of what you do further down the road, but one of the things, and at this point I want to give you the opportunity to throw a plug out there.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. So if somebody wants to reach me directly, they can reach me on my cell, 860-908-4524. Again, if you're based here in Las Vegas, it is a Connecticut number because that's where I came from. And if you want to reach me by email, you can email me at mfarnham@getnationwide.com.
Great, and we'll link all that stuff up in the video footer once this publishes. Michael, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Michael's been extremely gracious in coming in, and one of our best prepared guests ever. Most people just sort of show up and wing it, but Michael had questions about what to do, questions about how it works, questions about the format. It's great. He actually even wanted to see previous episodes, so
absolutely.
way to go. Most people are like, I'll come on, be on video. What do you want me to do? I'm like, just sit there and look pretty.
Sure. That's awesome.
Which was the answer I gave you too, but you're like, I'd rather be a little bit more prepared than this. Cool. So we're going to jump into a couple of things that are happening around the web this week. One of my favorite sections, our tireless producer Katie on my team, who's been a guest on the show, goes through and finds all sorts of fun stuff, and she has to channel me because she's probably super interested in stuff that is very highbrow and smart and educated, and I'm interested in things like fart jokes and and hilarious memes. So we're going to kind of jump into a few things here. first thing, this came out, this was on the New York Post the other day. Queen Elizabeth II wants to hire a social media star. So the Queen of England, who has been Queen of England, what feels like 100 years. I feel like I should be more brushed up on my Queen history. But she is looking to expand her internet presence. So if anybody's watching this has a direct connection to the Queen of England, tell them to call Post Launch, because we will hook a sister up, and we'll take 100% of the money. She's only offering $71,000 a year to be her, her online digital marketing manager, which in England is probably equivalent of like, what, $20 an hour?
Yeah, probably. But I mean, you find it so interesting because, like,
Right.
Nobody can take her spot.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but let me just, hit a tweet out there and,
Right.
make it happen. But
Right. So if I'm
So
going to Google, right, but I'm going to Google Queen of England, I wonder what happens. I wonder if she needs help on the type of stuff that she's doing.
exactly.
I mean, she's not.
Do I wear pink today or do I wear blue?
Right. From a money-making perspective, you see some of these celebrities do really, really well with a good online presence. The Kardashians, for example.
Yeah.
You can pay them. You can pay Kylie Jenner $10,000 to do one tweet for you.
Wow.
And she'll push something out on your behalf, and great, maybe it goes viral, maybe not, but she's got a lot of followers, a lot of people engaged and want to communicate. So maybe the Queen will do the same. Maybe the Queen will become an endorsement celebrity. I want to see the Queen. What would be a fun thing for the Queen to endorse on social media? Electronic cigarettes.
Yeah, some vape.
Some vape. Get the Queen vaping it up on her Vine videos every day, smoking.
Nice. Yeah,
that would be hilarious. Weight loss pills are popular online.
Yeah.
Erection pills. I think the Queen, that would be a total juxtaposition for the Queen, who probably hasn't seen an erection in several decades, to be promoting erection pills online. Good for Queen Elizabeth. I hope it works out for her. Staying on that side of the pond, we reported on this on the show a couple weeks back. The British government, their new $300 million research vessel, they ran a social media contest for the world to name the vessel, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
What I thought was even cooler and super punk rock is that they named the ship, they had 124,000 votes to name it Bodie McBoatface, which is great, right? So they were planning on christening the boat, the RSS Bodie McBoatface. Well, now they're reneging on the deal, and they're going to call it, I don't know what they're still going to call it. They decided that it was inappropriate to name their research vessel Bodie McBoatface. That's one of the problems with turning to your audience. I think it's a powerful lesson to learn. I kind of joke about it, but listen, you're turning to the world to say, what should we do next? Well,
Sure.
give us your feedback, give us your insight, and then they do it, and you say, never mind, we don't want to deal with it.
Right. Well, that's the thing with being so transparent on the internet today, is that if you're, whether you're a business owner or you're the British government, integrity is everything.
Right.
And if you're going to put it out there and you're going to say, look,
Yeah.
name this thing, and then you don't come through with the deal,
Right.
what kind of integrity is that? And that's a difficult thing. So
Right. So, I mean, this happens at businesses a lot when they run online contests. You really can't say what people are going to do.
Right.
I had a great conversation the other day with a company that does kiosks. They do some virtual reality kiosk stuff at events. They do one for McDonald's. And you would wear a virtual reality helmet, and it was broadcasting what we were doing, but the adventure was to paint the inside of a Happy Meal.
Okay.
So you put on this virtual thing, you're inside this Happy Meal box, and you could take paints and brushes and stuff and move your hands around and paint it. They identified exactly how long it took someone to start drawing penises on the inside of those boxes.
Jeez.
So they actually had a time to penis number that they would use when they were sitting there. And it was interesting how it wasn't skewed toward men, as many women would start drawing penises because they didn't realize what was going on there. But I mean, this was all live broadcast of McDonald's event.
So they start doing like a 7-second delay like they do.
I don't know. I'm sure they just had to
after Janet decided to flip one open and
right.
Hold on, we got to just delay a little bit.
I know, right? It's funny, they all frown on it, but I mean, this is the audience, right? These are the people that are engaging with this type of stuff, and you invite them to an event, you can't hate on them too much.
Absolutely.
So, this is some kind of cool technology that we were exposed to. They are calling it, the term is augmented reality, and it's been around a long time. Yelp even played with it for a while, and one of the probably the most successful augmented reality experiments is that you could take Yelp as an app on your phone, and as you held it up, as you were looking, you typed in restaurant near me, you could actually hold it up and it would overlay the reviews on the street that you were looking at.
Right.
Which was kind of cool, but, sort of a neat, cool factor, but it didn't actually result in any more conversions. Didn't actually result in any more stuff. This company, Magic Leap, is got a pretty cool new thing. I'm going to play this little video from what they've got. This is their sort of explainer video of the tech that they're working on. That is...
What could look like with Magic Leap, a new technology which stands to upend the way we work, communicate, and play.
We've created a digital light field signal that mimics how the world, the visual part of the world, like really interfaces or talks to it.
Maybe he didn't know he was going to be on camera that day.
CEO of Magic Leap, the secretive startup making synthetic digital images like this that merge with real spaces. The company isn't in Silicon Valley, New York, or even Austin. It's in southern Florida. That's why heavy hitters from tech, entertainment, and the arts regularly make the pilgrimage to their Fort Lauderdale offices to be wowed by the Magic Leap experience.
You probably don't really get it until you actually do it.
Google has invested. CEO Sundar Pichai sits on the board. And earlier this year, Alibaba led a $794 million investment.
Right.
Part of possibly the largest C round in history.
All that, and we still don't know that much about Magic Leap. But Wired has an exclusive early peek.
You've heard of VR, you've heard of AR. Well, Roni is working on something that he calls MR, mixed reality. That's a way of tricking the brain to think that digital light signals made in Magic Leap goggles are as real as the world around us. So how does Magic Leap do it?
Anyway,
Your brain is like a graphic.
so we're gonna pause that and move right on and discuss it a little bit. Looks cool, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
I could definitely see that progressing to the next level.
And one of the images that the MIT example had is that they were actually projecting out what looks like a heart. Well, I'm guessing what our heart surgeons are in the process of doing, and saying, well, hang on, that part goes here, which is kind of a it's great if they're going to use this for medical advancement and stuff. But
Yeah.
I always think we have our monitors, we have our cell phones, we have our Google glasses, we have our virtual reality helmets. How much more impressive is that gonna make things? I mean, you tell me, would you want a home where stuff was just popping up all the time and you could deal with it and interact with it?
Actually, I would.
Would you?
Yeah, actually, I think
cool.
I think it's pretty cool, especially when they showed like the heart. I mean, think about it. How many times we go to the doctor and he says, "Hey, you got this problem," and
Right.
we really leave it to trust him as
Sure.
far as that's concerned. Where if he could pull up a three-dimensional image and say, "Look, here's the blockage you have," or something like that, and you can see effectively, what he's going to do. I mean, I can see technology really moving
Okay.
in this direction.
What would you want to use it for first in your everyday life?
Well, for me, I have a cluttered office desk. So if I can eliminate a 27-inch Mac computer off of my desk
Nice.
and just have an image pop up, I mean,
Right.
I could see that being very effective for myself.
Okay. Have you played with any devices that don't have tactile response?
I have not, no.
Where you're wearing like virtual reality gloves
No,
or stuff?
I haven't done
Did you ever watch the movie Minority Report?
I
With
did.
Tom Cruise?
Yeah. Mhm.
So they talked about, there was an interesting bit of science fact that came out of that when he's, moving stuff around with these gloves on
Yeah.
the whole screen and like scrolling through.
Right.
There's a study out there called heavy hand, or they call it heavy hand syndrome.
Okay.
And that as human, moving stuff around like this with our hands, we're like too tired and too lazy to be able to do this on a
Right.
regular basis. So interacting with stuff that's here and interacting with stuff that's here, unless we have some sort of support mechanism or unless we've trained ourselves to do that, we're just like, which is why
Right.
the keyboard has
No,
been the same
yeah.
keyboard since the typewriter.
Sure.
Because we want to set our hands down and we want to type.
Right.
And the mouse has been the same mouse, which, I think it's pretty cool tech. I'm excited to see what they're going to do next with it.
But it's interesting you say that because I could see maybe like a hybrid then.
Yeah.
A hybrid where you still have your keyboard,
Right.
but instead of having a physical screen in front of you,
Right.
it's more of a
Right. Or even, even voice commands, right?
yeah.
pull up my report
Of course,
from
my
last
wife
Thursday.
would probably blow it up to a 300-inch screen TV so she could feel like the people are right in the living room. But
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I mean, the tech looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hologram stuff has fallen a little flat. I don't know
Yeah.
if this sort of falls in the same space.
Right.
I didn't read about all the details for us. I guess I'll sort of wait until I see it at CES, and then I can
absolutely.
then I can
Yeah,
feel.
then we can report back on that one.
Yeah,
That'd
yeah.
be great.
So we'll keep an eye on what Magic Leap is doing.
Excellent. That sounds
Follow
good.
on. So speaking of your wife and her 300-inch TV,
Yeah.
this is kind of interesting. This is one report that actually shows that Amazon Prime with their streaming service,
Yeah.
is producing better television than Netflix these days. Now,
Yeah.
Netflix streaming is well known for some of its really great shows. Orange is the New Black and House of Cards.
Sure.
Some of the new superhero shows are really, really well received. But this company, where are they here? Metacritic, did ratings for all these different shows, and Netflix shows had an average, where were they? 69.7% customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
And Amazon had 72.6. Now, they don't have as many shows.
Yeah.
But, it was kind of interesting. The article makes the argument that what matters, quantity over quality.
Right.
And I don't know, when you're watching tons and tons of television, tons of streaming television, that's an interesting argument to make, because I don't know if quantity over quality matters. I watch a lot of really crappy stuff on Netflix because it's convenient.
Well, what's funny to me is like I have all that stuff.
Right.
The Netflix, I
Right.
have CenturyLink for TV and everything. But
Right.
I really don't have time to watch it. I'm like you.
Right.
Super busy, but we have it
Right.
just, for convenience sake. But what's interesting is I find myself always reverting to, like, say, YouTube.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that I can go specifically to what I want. I find myself on looking at Netflix, scrolling through things, and there's nothing that grabs my attention.
That's good to hear.
And what I find interesting for those viewers that are out there is that Netflix is going to be increasing their price. So,
Right. Right.
I mean, it doesn't feel significant. I mean, you go from $8.99 to $10.99 or whatever they're going to go.
Right.
But a 20% bump in anything is pretty substantial.
Yeah.
And if they're not delivering you the content that you're looking for,
Right.
it's kind of doesn't make sense to have that.
Right. And certainly when Amazon Prime is going to go for $9 a month. Right?
Absolutely. And I think that if you sign up for that, don't quote me, but I think that you're going to get free shipping if you order stuff from it. I think it's set up that. And
Yeah, so you have
so
to
it's
have
interesting.
You have to have the Prime membership, which is right. It includes all the
Yeah.
free shipping stuff, which is $80 a year, whatever
Yeah.
you charge for it. And then you can add on the streaming video service, which is, negligible. But there's something like 43% of Americans have an Amazon Prime membership.
Yeah.
It's a crazy, crazy high number. The penetration is really through the roof. And when Amazon, I feel it's not too far down the road where Amazon is going to get its shit together and
Yeah.
really capitalize on that captured audience.
Yeah.
This is a big thing. Watching TV is a big thing. Video games is going to be a big thing. I mean, they sort of fell flat with their Amazon phone. Their,
Right.
their tablet is but their delivery service and their
Right.
available options and stuff.
Well, the only thing that I'm really puzzled about, and I'm kind of dating us because you'll remember this though, back in the 90s is when Microsoft actually wanted to buy out Netscape.
Yes.
And the government intervened and said, no, you become a monopoly at that point, and so you
Right.
can't do that. So they stopped that from happening.
Right.
And you wonder, a company like Amazon, when they start developing all these different areas, at what point does the government say, hey, wait a minute,
Right.
you're developing too much and you're becoming monopoly in
Right.
the whole system?
Well, so you almost never hear about antitrust cases anymore, right? With monopoly, where someone has become a monopoly, with the exception of maybe telecommunication,
Right.
where you have cell phone companies and cable companies who want to merge, and then the federal government says, no, you're too big, you break the mold, and then
Right.
these massive mergers fail. I remember there was one where Comcast and Time Warner Cable were trying to merge, and they would have been, the largest by 500% or something. And so the federal government blocked the merger. But if I'm Amazon, I'm probably planning for that, and I'm probably seeding my different business verticals in different countries
Sure.
or under different shell corporations, and showing all this different stuff. One of the cool things about this, even though they put it under the Amazon brand, Amazon as a company never makes any money.
Right.
They show losses every single
Right.
year, and they're out there, and they're publicly traded, but they do it because they want to reinvest in their infrastructure and come up with something new. So
Right.
that could be an argument that they could make if that comes up.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
a
I mean,
very interesting
Jeff
topic.
Bezos is a brilliant guy when he,
Right.
when he develops things, and it's amazing how, he started with this online booking company back in the early '90s, and
Yeah.
where we've come to
Yeah.
as far as that, and Amazon per se as a business as a whole isn't even known as a book company anymore. You know, they're really a source where people can get goods and products. So
right, and it's funny. I'm so bad that if it's not for sale on Amazon, I don't buy it. I'm like, yeah, I need new hair gel, and I'll look and I'm like, well, I guess I don't need new hair gel.
Yeah.
if I can't find something specific that I want, it's really difficult for me. And I over dramatize it when I tell people. I'm like, oh, I wanted to buy this cool sweater that I saw, but it's not for sale anywhere. And they're like, it's not for sale anywhere. I'm like, well, all right, it wasn't for sale on Amazon.
Right.
It's interesting. Yeah.
But I mean, Amazon almost sets the marketplace for what products actually should sell for.
Right.
You know, when you look at it, because it's, something may go for a retail of $50.
Right.
But if it's selling on Amazon for $35 and people are purchasing it, that's the true marketplace for our cost of what it should be.
Right.
You know, not that $50 retail that they're looking to get. So.
But it also I think makes it difficult for new entrants to the market to get a foothold.
It does, absolutely.
So we get contacted by people with an e-commerce platform or an e-commerce market, and they have a handful of SKUs, a handful of products that they want to sell. They have a real hard time getting a foothold in the market because Amazon dominates so much of the space. Then you've got Google Shopping and Yahoo Shopping, and these other sort of large online malls that are pulling products in. It's really, really difficult. Sort of the last bastion of true e-commerce are nefarious products, where people are selling alcohol, cigarettes, vape, marijuana, guns online because Amazon won't touch them. So those markets are actually highly competitive with a bunch of little players trying to fight for the same audience. But it's really kind of an interesting space. And good for Amazon for growing up to the way that they're going. I'm a huge. Every single day, Amazon packages show up at my house.
Well, I think that's why it's so important to have a company like Post Launch,
right?
That can help with SEO. I mean, if you're going to grow a business and you really want to see your business grow, you want to make sure that you can be seen. Yeah. And a lot of companies today, you could type in a word and millions of that will come up. Right. So you need to make sure that you're linked up with a company that can see those things and know how to market you properly to put you in front of people.
And here's a great example of that. I was asked to do an analysis on a restaurant chain. Well, they've got 2 restaurants in Southern Florida, one in Fort Lauderdale, one in Miami. And they're sort of an all-American pub. They call it gastro pub, right? It's it's about the beer, but there's food as well. And if you look for casual dining restaurants in Fort Lauderdale, the first 40 results on Google, none of them are restaurants.
Really?
Every single one of them are travel directory, Yelp review sites, business directory sites, which is really pretty interesting. So when they came to me and said, "Can we rank on these?" It's very, very difficult because casual dining restaurant in Fort Lauderdale, if Google searches that and they see that Yelp has 50 of casual dining restaurants listed in Fort Lauderdale, they're going to say, well, this page has everything, versus this one company. So fighting to get in that space is really pretty tough. However, every single one of these travel guides and every single one of these restaurant dining guides and business review directories, there's plenty of opportunities to optimize on those platforms. Right. So when people come by and say, well, we need you to get us up in the search engines, it's not going to happen. This is something, this was a very legitimate example of how it's impossible. All you can do is sort of play the game and make sure that you show up within each of those sites that's talking about dining in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. So it's kind of cool. But yes, visibility becomes super important.
It is, and that's why I say, for a company like yourself, maybe even knowing how to appropriately put on, say, AdWords, but where you can be cost effective, where you're investing in words that's going to generate a return, but it's not costing you $5 a click to make happen, which some of the words out there would do that.
So AdWords even is a whole nother place to talk about. I literally, before you walked in, I was on the phone with an individual, and they're buying dilapidated homes in Virginia, and they need help. They said, help us out. We're trying to compete on this stuff. And I looked, and they're paying $32 a click to try to generate leads to get people to sell in their home.
Wow. I can't even imagine what their expense is for the month.
It's insane. It's insane. I mean, if they want to close, if we just think of the numbers, they have to. If they want to close 10 homes, 10 deals, statistically, if they're doing a good job, they'll close 3% of their traffic.
Wow.
So if they want to close 10, they have to get 300 in at $30 a click.
Right.
Is that right? Am I doing my math
So
right on that?
that's like 9,000.
Yes.
That they have to pay
Right.
just in advertisement.
Right.
Not alone the commissions to the realtor.
Yeah.
Or
and
unless
staff and all that.
right.
Yeah.
So I mean, how much? Hopefully they got a heck of a built-in profit.
Right.
So far as that's concerned.
Right. So 333 visitors required to make 10 deals at $34 a click. $11,300 a month they have
Wow.
to spend on just advertising. So,
Wow.
hopefully the commission on selling those homes is good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously homes are a big ticket item, so maybe they're comfortable paying that.
Sure.
Let's move right along. We're going to jump into our viral video of the week. This was one that I thought was hilarious. And when we talk about a viral video,
Yeah.
there's a couple of things that matter. And if you've seen an episode before, I always touch on these key points. What it takes to have a viral video. It has to connect with you on an emotional level. It has to be something that's either funny, sexy, scary, exciting, off-putting, or whatever the case may be. But you have to have an emotional response to it. Now this one I'm going to show you, I have an emotional response to it because I am 37 years old and I still like to do, let's call them extreme sports when I can.
Nice.
That's nothing, nothing crazy, nothing over the top that's going to get me hurt, but I still ride skateboards.
Yep.
I got a BMX bike sitting right here behind my computer that I just got in the mail yesterday that I rode to work today.
Nice.
I still like to wakeboard and water ski and do things that are a bit more extreme. So this video resonated with me.
Yeah. Well, for me, I think that keeps you young. Right?
I think it does too. But
sometimes our body doesn't
right.
like it too much, but
sometimes
it does.
our body definitely
Yeah.
doesn't agree. But this was one that sort of resonated with me because all my friends and my wife and everyone I talk to say, "Why? Why do you do that? You're gonna fall. You're gonna hurt yourself."
Right.
But here we go. This is a video I stumbled across yesterday. This has had 1.2 million views since its published date on April 9th.
Wow.
So it's gotten around. So this would be me doing parkour, just falling awful at it. I love this guy though. What a great touch the wall. Touch the wall. Okay, there we go. I feel like it's better. So parkour, right? The sport of urban street running, where you're basically running through, and if there's an obstacle, you jump over it. You don't go around it. This guy, this guy's obviously owning it right here, and I think it's fantastic because I'm a fat old guy that likes to do dumb stuff.
I think it's actually awesome. I really do because, he's doing things that I don't think I would even try to attempt.
Right.
And he's just fully committed.
Yeah.
It's not like he's, let me think about whether I want to try this.
Right.
Click on that picture again right there. This dude is like completely upside down, inverted. Committed to, let's face it. He's not a 150-pound guy. This guy could drop on his head and be done. So he's committed to what he's doing. That's amazing. Right. That he's doing that. So
I think it's impressive.
Absolutely.
My wrists and knees are starting to hurt just watching him do this, though. I'm like, I don't know that that's going to necessarily work out for me. But good for him. I thought that this was good, and it inspired me to not give up on some of the dumb stuff that I like to do.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
So that's great. So that was that guy trying his best to do the parkour. You ever done it? You ever tried?
I have not, but I'll tell you, what he did there. If he can do it, I think that a lot of people could try to do something.
Yeah.
So it's just staying committed to what you believe in and what you enjoy to do. So
right.
But I love BMX.
Nice.
So
Nice.
To me,
You want to be on my BMX squad?
Get back out there with a Haro or something like that, and doing some things. That's pretty cool. I love that.
So my buddy turned me back onto him. This one I got. There's a company out there called Fit Bike.
Okay.
And it's a 20-inch rim. One of these days I'll post some pictures of it up on our Agency Life blog on the website. But my friend Michael, also another Michael.
Yeah.
I hang out with a lot of Michaels.
Nice.
Or your name is super common.
That's possible.
He was calling me and he's saying, it's great. I ride my BMX bike. He's got a 14-year-old son. He says it's great. We go out and we hang out and we do this stuff. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So I had to stop by his house to pick up some stuff that I left. We used to work together. When I left the company, I left it, and he had some stuff in his garage. So I went over there to get it, and I said, let's go for a bike ride. I was on my way to meet Daphne Geist. Daphne.
Okay, yeah, sure, yeah.
And I
absolutely.
got down to Henderson early, and I was like, I'll go see Michael. We went over there, and two big, fat, grown-ass men riding bikes around this neighborhood in Henderson for half an hour in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. I said, this is the coolest thing ever.
Right.
Remember, you get the when you're trying to pedal and go fast, and he's jumping up on stuff. I'm still nervous. I didn't have a helmet or anything when I was out there.
Right.
But he's jumping up on curbs and doing all sorts of cool stuff. So I had to go out and pick one up.
That's awesome.
And I rode it to work today, so that was fun.
I think that staying useful is great. I think that's what life is about, is just getting out there, enjoying it, not just sitting around on the couch.
Well, that's good.
Eating bonbons or something like that.
It's
what
tough,
I mean?
Right? Because
but
you work all the time.
Yeah.
I work all the time. And finding the opportunity to do something different.
Right.
I have to force it. I really have to force myself to do it. If I want to do something, I have to put on my schedule and say, I'm not going to be in the office. I'm not going to be working at this time. I'm spending some time on me.
Right.
And it's tricky.
It is, absolutely.
I'm going to jump into our topic of the week. And I love this, the graphic that our producer Katie picked for this one. I'm not sure that this guy necessarily resonates as a subject matter expert, but he's got a lot of spices and peppers going down.
Yeah.
I wonder what that giant wicker wall is behind him.
I don't know.
Kind of clever. Making sure your vendors are subject matter experts. And this is something that I can say without a doubt, Michael absolutely is. And whenever I try to communicate what we do to a client, I really, really spend as much time as I can researching and finding opportunities. But I've seen Michael give speeches and presentations about the space in the world of payment processing, and it's super, super confusing. And so talk to me about the importance of having someone who understands what people are getting when they're starting to take credit cards for their business or their service, and what are some of the pitfalls that they can do to avoid getting burned, because it's complicated.
Sure.
Right?
Well, first I'd like to start out by saying, to the business owners that are watching it, or anybody that's wants to venture into starting a business, the important thing is that you get the right team.
Yeah.
Whether it's myself post-launch, to help with the SEO, whatever you plan on doing, but to build the right team, because you want to focus on what you do best.
Right.
And you don't want to be worrying about the other things that encompass the whole business.
Right.
But a lot of times what we see out there is, as these business owners are focused on what they're doing best, there's other people that are taking advantage of that situation.
Right.
And they don't have time to worry about that. So you really need to find someone that you can trust, that is an ethical business person, and that is willing to take the time to sit with you and understand why they're going to be a benefit on your team. Because ultimately, when I come in and I do processing for you, I'm not doing processing for Nationwide. I'm on your team. I'm there, to make sure that your business is growing and that you can be sustainable for a long period of time.
Right. And that becomes incredibly, incredibly valid. And how much would you say that most people are, from a percentage perspective, when you go through and you do your analysis on people's payment processing, what they've got in place, like how much are people overpaying on average?
Well, a lot of times when we go in and talk to businesses, a lot of them mention about the interest rate, which is one portion, which is one factor. It'd be like coming in and talking to you about saying, well, I'm on Google, and say, okay, that's great. That's one portion of the internet, but it's not the whole internet.
Right.
So we get people all the time say, well, I'm at this rate. When truly they really need to look at what's called their effective rate, which shows their true cost of business. That's a very important factor, and there's so many factors that are in that. back end fees
Right.
and what their interest rates are, and so
Right.
those are things that are important.
And that's super interesting in the fact that if somebody came to me and handed me my credit card processing statement and put it on my desk, it would get pushed to the very bottom of the pile.
Yeah.
And if it made it to the top of the pile, I would push it back to the bottom of the
Right,
pile.
right.
Because it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
I'm sure I could sit down and, find the time to try to dissect it and chop it up. But having a partner who understands that, who gets you, who can actually make sense of what's on there is so incredibly important. Because, if you're processing, when you think about it, if you're processing $1 million in credit card transactions, which isn't out of the ballpark for
No,
most
not at all.
companies, and you're overpaying by 2%, that's $20,000 a year that you're
Exactly.
just throwing out the window.
Exactly.
Um,
Which they could be, utilizing that money, that pool of money in other areas, which is going to increase their,
Yeah.
their revenue. And,
Yeah.
a lot of times, again, we live in a fast-paced world.
Right.
Technology's changing all the time. Things are changing around us all the time.
Right.
And we don't have time, as far as business owners,
Right.
to sit and, okay, how can I worry about whether I'm paying, 0.5%, 1/4%, 1% more? So.
Right. So, it comes down, and really what I want to make sure we're talking about is being subject matter experts. And one of the things that I see happening a lot is people will do business with their buddy. People do business
Yeah.
with their friend. People, they'll, first person to come to me, this absolutely happened to me. When I started my company, the first person to come knocking on my door, I signed up a credit card processing account.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know any better. I didn't think about it. I should have seen some red flags, because this guy showed up on a skateboard in a tank top. And that's great.
Not that it's bad.
Right, that's great. But he was absolutely not a subject matter expert.
Right.
Mutual friend said, "Oh, Jeff's starting a company. Talk to this guy." He came in. He said, "Here's your exchange rate, interchange rate." I don't know. I don't even know what I said. I still don't
Right.
know. Here's your rates. I
Yeah.
said, "Cool, let's do it."
Right.
Signed up. Now you've come back and taken a look at our stuff, and
Sure.
there's huge opportunities for us to
Yeah.
even modify our own payment processing to be much more effective, and that's
Yeah.
something that we're working on putting in place. But you really don't know. And when it comes to being a subject matter expert, work with a person who is clearly smartest.
Absolutely.
And if you're a business owner, you're not a fool. You didn't
Yeah.
accidentally become a business owner. You became a business owner because you could take risk and you could understand people and you could read people and you can interact with people. And it's something that, use your best common sense. Don't just work with someone because they're there, or work with someone because they're nice. You don't keep
Yeah.
employees for those reasons.
Exactly.
Work with a vendor who's going to show you their ability to do a good job for you.
Right. Well, what I
So-
find interesting about that, and this I'm kind of looking at history, but
Right.
I remember reading an article, and this reporter actually went to Henry Ford, and was kind of bashing him a little bit about, hey, do you know this? Do you know this? Do you know this? And he says, well, you see this board in front of me, because they didn't have
Computers.
the internet and
Yeah,
smartphone
yeah.
like we do. And he goes, sure. He says, I can push any one of these buttons and get the person in here that can answer that question. So why do I want to clutter my mind
Right.
with something like that? And that's why it's important to have the right person
Right.
on your team
Right.
that specifically deals with that, because
Yep.
then you don't have to clutter your mind with all these nuances and stuff like that. So,
Exactly. And if someone's not immersed in the space, going to your financial controller, your bookkeeper, saying, figure out my rates, they're not going to even know what to look
Right.
for. They're not even going to know where to start. That's why I think it's really, really important to have a partner on your side that's not going to take advantage of you
Sure, absolutely.
on that
I agree.
front and who knows their stuff. All right, we're going to move on to our marketing tip of the week. Now, Michael and I both do a fair amount of networking. We belong to a couple networking groups
do.
together. And we meet a lot of people, and there's a lot of opportunities. And for us, it's opportunity. The more people we meet, the more opportunities we have to give bids, the more opportunities we have to close business. It's a numbers game at the end
Absolutely.
of the day, right?
Absolutely.
Which is cool. And one of our marketing tip that I want to talk about is how to be persistent without being annoying. And this becomes difficult because I have to purchase goods and services from vendors just like
Right.
every other business owner. Some of them are super annoying. Some of them are too pushy for my own good.
Right.
Some of them are, I'll have a good conversation with them and I won't hear back from them for a month.
Right.
And by the time they're coming back for a month, I've moved on to the next person.
Sure.
So what are some things that you do, Michael, in your networking and follow-up process to try to land accounts without, what are you finding as best
Sure.
practices?
Well, what I find is a good practice when you're looking at persistence, and you really want to help a company is when you initially contact that owner,
Yep.
because that's who the person you really should talk to, or the person that's the controller, somebody who's specifically dealing with the area that you need,
Right.
is to make sure that you set up that next appointment. Give them a couple dates. Say, hey, is Monday or Wednesday at 1 o'clock good for you?
Right.
And when they say that and say, okay, I'm going to put that in my calendar, now when you call them back, they're expecting your call back. They're not being annoyed by, why are you calling me again? So
Right.
I think that's important.
Right. And then what do you do do you get frustrated when people, or no, you're constantly happy. You're always smiling. You're a smiling guy.
Now, you know what? I look at things a little bit different. Sometimes a no is just a business no.
Right.
And, you don't take things personal.
Right.
It doesn't mean that it's something against you. It just means it's not the right time.
Right.
And maybe there's a better time. So if you can, just be sympathetic and say, hey, maybe there's a better time for us to connect. Can you give me a better time? And they say, yeah, this would be a better time because right now it's not good.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to go about it.
That's perfect. That's perfect. In my own business, when I'm interacting with possible opportunities and leads, one of the things that I always do is make sure that when I'm contacting him, the reason I'm contacting him is almost never to ask for business again.
Right.
It's to bring an opportunity to their front door. And whether or not that opportunity is, hey, here's something new in your space that I think you should take a look at.
Yeah.
Or, hey, here's another company that's doing something that's kind of similar to you guys. Are they on your radar? Here is a pretty cool tactic that I saw your competitors doing online. I think you guys should absolutely take a look at incorporating this into your digital marketing.
Sure.
For me, that works really well because it shows them that I have taken the time to not only learn about their business, but pay attention to their marketplace.
Yeah.
So, an email like that, even if it's in the middle of the night, hey, I saw this, I thought of you guys.
Yeah.
I thought this might be something you want to take a look at. Let me know if you want to chat next week.
And that gets back to, being on the team.
Uh-huh.
Because when you're building the right team,
Right.
You understand that, hey, that person has my back. They're not here to just not here just to plug me into an SEO and just forget about me and,
Right.
won't hear from me again until I drop him. He's there to say, hey, look, I value your business and I want to try to increase whatever I can. If I can send you something that I see out there that I think is going to be beneficial to you, then,
Right.
I'm going to do that.
Right. And we very much sort of live by that same credo, I think, you and I both. And it's very much, how can I be a partner to you? How can I be effective to your business over and above what I'm just offering now?
Right.
And I think that's the world we live in these days. People, with the internet being available where it is, we can find commodities all day long.
Absolutely.
I can find services. I can Google whatever. But somebody who's not just selling a commodity, I think, is really, really important. A service, like we both offer,
Right.
is truly a service and not a product.
Sure.
And if you want, take the time. And it's for us. It's me. It's not about the volume.
Right.
It's about making sure that we're a good fit. In fact, somebody came to me yesterday and offered me a whole bunch of money to do something for their marketing, and I said no because it wasn't going to be a good fit.
Right.
I turned him off. He came. I sent out a proposal. I said, this is what we need to do to be effective. They came back and said, no, this is what we want to do, and I turned it down.
Sure.
I said, I'm sorry. I'm not the resource for you.
Sure.
But I also said, here is the resource for you.
And I think if you have the right team, the right team you put together, I should say, on there, a team player
Right.
should think abundantly.
Yeah.
So when you talk about that, that's an abundant person talking.
Right.
Because you're not worried, if I don't get this deal, there's going to be no other deal out there for me to
Right.
do, or there's going to be no other company for me to work with.
Right.
You just say, hey, look, if I deal with that, it's going to be the wrong area of what I need to do.
Exactly.
And if we can't come to terms on what needs to be done, then you got to find somebody else. And
Yep.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Good. So we're on the same page. All right. Well, we're coming to the end of our webcast here. Michael, throw out your contact information again in case anybody wants to.
Sure. Again,
give you a holler.
my name is Michael Farnham. I'm with Nationwide Payments. You can contact me directly at 860-908-4524, or feel free to email me at mfarnham@getnationwide.com.
And just so they have the spelling of Farnham.
Sure. It would be MFARNUM at getnationwide.com.
And we'll link it all up in the bottom of the video as well when it's all done, when it's all
Perfect.
published. We, if you want to talk about any of the topics we talked about from the web marketing perspective on the show, give us a call at post-launch, 702-800-2131, or visit us online at postlaunch.co. Any parting thoughts, Michael, you want to throw out there?
No, I just say, go out, enjoy your weekend, have a great time, and just stay healthy.
Be safe. What's healthy to you? Like 3 drinks a day?
No.
No, less?
No,
More?
yeah.
I'll drink
less.
more.
Yeah, okay.
Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend.